What's going on, horror fanatics? I'm Marcus. Welcome to our Sham 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. Well, folks, in this video, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. This isn't going to be the typical theory, review, live stream, watch party type of video that you're used to seeing here on this channel. I have the unfortunate distinction of having to make this video because some things need to be addressed in regards to a certain situation involving a couple of horror tubers that are causing quite a stir in this community of fans who are believers that Stumacher is alive, in this community of content creators who make content talking about Stumacher being alive. And these two YouTubers that I am talking about is Scareticulus and the crime scene. More specifically, the crime scene, because he's the one who's been really at this in regards to going a step further in regards to heckling people in live streams, being disrespectful towards the viewers and the content creators, but then turning around and trying to play the victim, stuff of that nature. Now, usually I don't immerse myself into this type of drama. I don't. If somebody has a critique about me and how I extrapolate my content and what I'm saying, everybody's entitled to their opinions. But when you start to get personal, and when you start to take personal shots, but not just personal shots, when you try to undermine grown-ass adults' intelligence, but then also their credibility in regards to the content that they make and spew lies and bullshit, that's where the line gets drawn. And that's where things need to be addressed. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about before I get into these videos, because I have two videos that I'm going to play. One is certain excerpts from the live stream that was done on Scareticulus's channel last Friday, which is titled Debunking More Stew Clues. When a subscriber reached out to me and told me about me being dissed in this video, initially I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, send me the link because I want to see what was said. I want to see if it got really personal. Because if it didn't really get personal, whatever, say what the fuck you want. You know what I mean? You're entitled to your opinion, whatever. But once I got to this live stream and I seen the title on the thumbnail, Debunking More Stew Clues, I became intrigued. I'm like, oh, okay, so obviously this person here is not a stew truther. So maybe they might have some concrete visual and audio evidence that they pulled from the movie that debunks every theory that I had or anybody else has had in regards to Stumacher being alive. Well, I will let you guys know this now. That's not what you get. You just get a lot of the same talking points. Oh, it just doesn't make sense. These people are ridiculous, yada, yada, yada. There's no real contextualized detail in regards to why they believe Stumacher could not be alive. It's just a lot of hate being spewed towards this community of people who believe in it just because they want to do it. And in so many words, they literally say that in the live stream, which I find it very fucking ridiculous that a couple of 30-year-old men in their fucking 30s, really have nothing better to do with their time than to fuck with a certain section of the fandom just because they don't agree with them over a movie theory. But hey, to each its own, I guess. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to play certain excerpts from not just the live stream that was done last Friday from Scareticulus's channel. I am also going to play a video that was done a month ago after Scream 7's release, or right before Scream 7's release. Sorry for that mistake. But right before Scream 7's release, that the crime scene did himself. Now, before I do that, I want to read you guys a comment that I left in his comment section last night in regards to this video that I'm going to pull up. As you guys can see, you probably can't read everything, but I advise you, if you want to read it in context, go over to the crime scenes channel and check out the interaction between me and him if you want a bird's eye view so you can read everything clearly. But I'm just going to say it here. I told him, stop lying to your viewers. No one blocked you for disagreeing about the Stumacher is alive theory, etc. We understand and show respect to those who oppose the theory because we respect everyone's opinions, even if we disagree. That is a fact. My viewers can attest to that. You got blocked because you were being insulting and getting personal, not just towards the creators, but more importantly, towards the audience. You are supremely childish for a 38 to 39-year-old man. The fact that you go out of your way to heckle people over a movie theory that you disagree with shows how insecure, pathetic, and weak that you are as a man. Hence, why you wear a mask to hide your identity. Because you are insecure in your beliefs and convictions. If you were secure in your beliefs and convictions, you'd show your face while you're openly calling out and harassing others. There's no lie I spoke in that. If you truly felt that you were strong in your convictions, why not take the mask off? When you're heckling and talking shit and getting personal to others, why not take the mask off? Stand 10 toes down. We'll get into why you choose not to do that later. You give us a bullshit reason as to why you wear the mask. Well, I don't want to say it's a bullshit reason. It's a formidable reason. Reasons that I've seen other YouTubers give, but there's more to it for you. And I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. He would then proceed to respond. There it is. Even more personal attacks. You and your crew are masters at this. Keep that in mind. I'll even repeat it. You and your crew are masters at this. You claim to be the victim, yet here you are with a whole page of grievances. Anyone can go rewatch that live stream and watch the chat replay and see how misleading the host was. And he was doing it to protect you, his guests. Can I count on seeing you on Scareticulus's live stream panel to discuss this more? I doubt it. I'll give you an answer to that here in a second. Don't worry, I'll get to that in regards to coming on Scareticulus's live stream to debate or whatever the fuck it is you want to do, which is really just to argue with people when you really break it down and shit. But we'll get to that. But you said that the host, which was Destin, my brother from another mother, you said that he was misleading to protect me. What the fuck was he misleading about? We were talking and sharing theories. Some of the theories we shared a lot of the same opinions about. On top of that, what is he protecting me from? I'm showing my face on a worldwide platform, speaking for the world to see. That's on posterity on video forever. What the fuck am I hiding from? Don't get me mixed up with yourself. You're the one wearing the mask. I'm standing 10 toes down no matter whether people agree with me or not. You can see my face. You see the face of the person who's talking and standing on their convictions. We can't say that about you. So what the fuck was he trying to protect me from? And what the fuck was he misleading? Wasn't misleading about anything. You would know that if you actually took the time to pay attention to listen to what you're hearing and not just popping in, hearing something that you don't like and then start to run your dick licker being ignorant. Because that's what you did. Now let's get to the video. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind in regards to what he says about playing the victim and that we as Stu Truthers are masters at getting personal with him. Keep in mind, this video that I responded to last night was done a little over a month ago. None of us content creators that he dissed knew anything about him doing this video about us. Didn't know about it until yesterday or a couple days ago. Had no idea about this. Let's get to it.
Theories in the sense like I think these are actually going to happen in the movie. However, these are my ideas that I think should happen in the movie. Very different. This is not a prediction. Do not expect to see these things when you watch Scream 7. I highly, highly doubt it. Also, this is not a weirdo Stu conspiracy theory video. If you're expecting to hear about Leslie Mocker, you might just want to turn this video off. That is the only time you're ever going to hear those words in this video. There are plenty of scamming Stu cult member YouTubers making live stream videos right now asking you to send them money so they'll talk about Stu. If you want to do that, you can go to those.
Wow. So you guys heard what he just said there, right? Now, mind you, to preface this again, this was before any of us even knew he was taking shots at us. So who's the one starting to take personal shots? You literally said that we are asking viewers to send us money so that we can talk about Stumacher being alive. That's what you just said. It's on video for posterity forever. That's what you said. that we are asking viewers for money to talk about Stumacher and him being alive. You fucking numbnut. We talk about it because we're passionate about the theory, because we believe in it. Has nothing to do with money. And we're definitely not asking our viewers, hey guys, if you want me to talk about this Stumacher theory, you got to send me a couple bucks for me to do it. No. If people want to send in money, that is their choice. That is their option. They don't have to send in shit. Let me tell you something. I have done live streams, pre-monetization and in the aftermath of my monetization, where I have gone 4, 5, 6 fucking hours without receiving a single cent in super chats or anything. Didn't end the live stream early, didn't do anything like that. Why? Because it's not about the money to me. I genuinely love sitting here doing movie marathons or doing live stream discussions where we just fucking go off for however long, if it's feasible and if we can do that. So ain't nobody scamming nobody out of anything. But I want you guys to keep this line of dialogue refreshed in your minds, because there's a moment in Scareticulus's live stream that I think is super hilarious and hypocritical at the same time in regards to, oh, we're asking people for money. We're asking people to talk about Stumacher being alive. Fucking moron. And yes, at this point, we're far beyond apologies. We're far beyond all that shit. You wanted to start taking personal shots, talking about people's credibility, literally telling audiences that we're scamming people out of money, but then you want us to have a cordial, honest conversation with you? How the fuck does that work? We'll get more into that here in a second as well.
Yes. Code for the.
Here we go.
She's got it posted here 3 hours ago. I
All right.
sent it over to her, sent her the link.
Cool.
So, oh no, I didn't know how this was going to begin, because I've got a whole thing when she shows up. I've got a hypothetical scenario for us to run through that I think will paint a very good picture for the stream to come, and kind of get people like, oh, okay, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe this whole Stu thing could be a little ridiculous. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
It doesn't happen. Don't hold your breath if you decide to go watch that entirety of that live stream. It does not happen. It's literally just them making fun of certain outlier theories that were posted on Facebook from Stumacher fans and stuff. You know, I'll openly admit there are some Stu theories that are a little too out there. I'm not ashamed to admit that. That's how it goes for a lot of movie theories. Like it's not impossible to think or not know that there's going to be a couple of outlier theories that's like, that really doesn't make sense. And yeah, you can poke holes through and stuff. But that's basically what they do. It's no real context in regards to why this theory wouldn't work. There's no real debunking of theories or stew clues going on in this live stream.
Talk it. Okay, sounds fun. Yeah, I kind of led the stream the other day, but if you want to, you know, be more of
your
a
house
leader of this stream, you go for it, bro.
I was thinking that because I am not a doctor or a counselor or a lawyer, but I'm going to be playing one in this stream. I figured maybe you'll be the judge, I'll be the prosecutor, and Samantha can be the jury.
I feel bad for the state if you're the prosecutor, because not only are you going to lose them the case and a shitload of money on the time they spent putting the case together, but immediately in the aftermath of you losing this case, they're going to disbar your punk ass.
I have a history of playing judge, so I think that could work out.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of that concept, if you can find a Stuther who someday would like to come on stream and defend their arguments, but the thing of it is,
I would love that.
With these people, normally
with these people, you see what I'm talking about in regards to sectioning us off from the rest of the fandom just because we support a theory that they don't support. Do you realize how fucking childish that is? These people. What do you mean by these people, by the way? There's a reason I'm saying it that way and I'm bringing it up that way, because there is a moment here in about a minute or two that is fucking hilarious that I couldn't help but laugh at, that took me back to that line of dialogue and be like, oh yeah, are you sure? You'll understand when I get there. But to comment on what he just said about if you can find a Stuther who wants to come on a live stream and defend their position, by all means. Well, here's the problem with that. You could have had that. Had you would have went about it the right way, instead of sneak dissing like y'all are in this live stream, when you pull up me and Destin's image from our live stream that we did together, and when you talk shit about Wolfman Got Nards and all that stuff, we're going to get to that. But you had the opportunity to reach out to any of the YouTubers that you criticize and that you insult. Before insulting them, you had the opportunity to reach out on social media and be like, hey, I am not a Stu Truther. I don't believe in the theory. I genuinely believe he's dead. And if I'm being honest, I don't like the idea that you're still promoting this content. Can we please get together for an open conversation in regards to this and debate and go back and forth and have an adult conversation? Did you do any of that? No. You have been disrespectful, especially you, the crime scene, from the fucking outset. So when you have already disrespected people, called them scammers, and basically trounced on their credibility, why would they want to give you the fucking privilege of having to debate them? Why would they want to come on a live stream and debate you when you already started this off the wrong way by getting fucking personal? Because by you already getting personal from the outset, that kind of gives me an outlook in regards to how we are bound to go if we have a conversation. And it ain't going to go well. Because as I can tell, I don't think you want to debate anyone. I just think you want to argue with people because you get a kick out of arguing with people and getting people riled the fuck up. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you like to do in a sense. But as a damn near 40-year-old man, I do believe that's a little bit childish. But again, to each its own. But if you really wanted to have a debate like you're calling out here, you would have done it the right way. You chose not to do it the right way. As the rappers like to say, you chose violence. So this is what you get. And then you say, we don't like to talk to people who oppose of the stumacherisalive theory. Comes to show that you don't pay attention to any of the people that you criticize. Because I have openly had my good friend, Jordan, from Jordan Talks Films, on my panel multiple times. He's not a Stu Truther. We've had open debates talking about Stu being alive. And he gave his reasonings as to why he don't believe it'll happen and why it's not going to happen and so on and so forth. Never once insulted him. Never once told him, yeah, bro, since you don't believe in the stumacherisalive theory, I can't have you on my panels anymore. Never once did that. So shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Proceed.
I do not like to associate to anyone who is dissenting.
Yeah, I found that to be the case. Like that Stu's Alive guy. I commented on his video because he said like, "Oh, Stu and Jill are going to work together in Scream 8," and I was like, not a chance. But if you would like to come on panel to talk about this stuff sometime, feel free.
Now you see how he just explained how he did that there. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Respectfully, I don't agree with you, but if you want to debate about it, come on my platform or I'll come on yours and let's have a discussion. That's how you do it. Now, on the flip side, I really wish, Scareticulus, you would have done that for my channel and others that this fucking goomball that you have on your live stream. I wish you would have did the same for us that you did for the Stumacherisalive guy or whatever his name is, whatever his handle is. You could have did the same for us. I don't know if maybe I missed a comment. I could have. I don't think I did. I'm pretty well caught up on my notifications. But I didn't see you do that for my channel, Sister Pam's channel, Destination Station's channel, these channels that this guy ends up mentioning in his video and also pulling up on the screen here in your live stream. You didn't do that for any of us. So did you really want to have an open discussion about this? Or do you just want to point out certain things from a distance and then come on your platform and trash it without giving people the real opportunity to discuss this with you about it? I don't know. I kind of feel like there's, an overlay for the underplay there. Like, oh yeah, I have no problem with debating people about this, but we're going to select who we choose to debate. Now, why I say it that way is because this Stumacherisalive guy, the handle who he's talking about, their theory is that Jill and Stu are going to be working together in Scream 8. And I will say this right here, right now. Based on what we've seen in Scream 7, I do think that's more of an outlier theory. I do think that's a little bit of an outlier theory. But as you see, and as you heard, he was quick to go comment and say, yeah, not a chance. But if you want to have a debate about it, feel free to come on. Excuse me. Why that's significant is because that guy's theory is more of an outlier theory. You feel more comfortable debating with him about that because you know the chances of that happening are really slim to none, especially based on what we've seen in Scream 7. However, you have not commented on any other YouTuber who gives a valid and detailed description as to why Stu could be alive and shows evidence, not just visual, but audio evidence that backs the theory up. I know this for a fact because I just did one a couple weeks ago where I talked about how in the opening scene of Scream 7, there is no doubt that that is Stu Macher who killed Scott Madison. And I go into distinct detail as to why that has to be Stu Macher and not Jessica, Marco, or Carl. Not once did I see you comment. And I think the reason why that is because you pick and choose certain theories to where you want to debate about. What I mean by that is you choose the weaker outlier theories that really kind of do sound like they make no sense, as opposed to the theories to where it's like, ooh, they kind of got a point there. But hey, that's just my thought. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
And,
well, funny you bring him up because he is in the what do you call that? He is in the docket, if you will, for submitted exhibits. In my case, he is Stu's Alive is present in the docket.
Yeah, and, for y'all who don't know, crime scene here. What do I call you?
You could say the crime scene. You could say I go by as you can see, I'm wearing a mask because my identity is hidden through my channel. It's kind of a well, I don't mix my lives together. Obviously, I have a life outside of this, and
I'm not saying that ain't true because I know a lot of YouTubers who do that. However, I have a difference in an opinion as to why you choose to do that, sir.
Really wouldn't want someone from another place talking to me about my YouTube content.
Right, just an alias.
Right. And Topsy Crutch is the alias of the movie The Number 23 with Jim Carrey. When I was looking for an alias, so you can see that I have the K in the crime scene. My show that I run has K's in it instead of C's. If it starts with the word, that's kind of an homage to Mortal Kombat. As well,
not that group of people who like
what the K. The single K. And well, my show originally
not multiple K's. Okay,
well,
it's a single K kind of occasion. There's not two, not three K's. At all.
Funny you bring that up. My original show abbreviation, the show abbreviated was KK. So there's 2Ks in my episode titles.
That's
we
okay.
stopped-
2Ks is fine as long as it's
we
not.
stopped before the 3.
Just don't push it, dude.
Well,
Don't
and
push
you know
it.
what? It goes farther than that because I wasn't even aware of this. Apparently, my history was a little light. Because my brand name is called Sticky Situations, I also had SS written in places, which that is also associated with. That's associated with Hitler. Actually, the SS. So I had the SS and the KK on my channel, and I wasn't even aware.
And
of
you were.
He wasn't aware of it, but yet he refers to us Stew Truthers as those people, which lines up with how racists speak about opposing ethnicities that they are against. I'm not saying that he's that. I'm just saying that's funny as fuck how he talks about these abbreviations being somewhat close to racist symbols, and then you hear him refer to Stew Truthers as those people, similar to how you hear racists talk about those people in regards to other ethnicities that they are opposite or whatever against, views, whatever. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Let's proceed.
A mask over your face.
So,
that's not a good look in general.
There's a lot of stuff. I swear, I never thought of it to start.
Hey, Deadly Queens. Hey, everyone in the chat. Lady Trentham, everyone coming in the chat. Please share the stream out. If you like the content at any point, you can feel free to donate because I like money. And the crime scene,
So you just heard what Lycan just said, right? Scareticulus. You just heard what he just said. If you want to feel free to donate, I like money, so go ahead. Why I point that out is because at the beginning of the video, the first clip that I showed, you literally heard the crime scene trying to say that YouTubers like myself and my constituents are asking viewers for money to do the content in regards to Stu that they do. Yet, he is literally on a fucking live stream with a guy who's literally saying, hey, if you want to send me money, send it because I like money. The hypocrisy is fucking hilarious. I can't make this shit up. You guys see it and hear it for yourself. Let's proceed. Scroll ahead here a little bit because they do get into some moments where they're not talking about really, they're just having a conversation amongst themselves that's not really a part of the main conversation.
Quite challenging. I'm trying to balance a schedule, but if I didn't have that, and I had, maybe if I was a little younger, had some more time, my choice of starting a new channel would probably be just going after these Stewthers. Just nothing but stew because it's evergreen. Like it will never.
Yeah.
Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear the juvenility and banality in what this guy just said? He said if he was a little bit younger, meaning he would still be an adult because he's pushing 40. Meaning he would still be an adult. If he had more time on his hands, he would create a YouTube channel just to heckle and fuck with people who believe in the stumacherisalive theory. That is juvenile as fuck. You're literally heckling people over a movie theory. You want to do that because you don't like it and you don't believe in it. You say that we have the intellect of a 9-year-old, but yet you're behaving like a 2-year-old. Make that shit make sense to me. You are a fucking child. No grown-ass man, no real grown-ass man is going to even think about, oh, well, you know what? Because I don't like this movie theory and I don't like the fans who believe in it, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and decide to fuck with these people and be a troll and heckle them about it. It's childish as fuck, bro. Do yourself a favor and go get some pussy or something, please. Yeah, I feel like a man who's getting some action is definitely not thinking those type of thoughts in regards to creating a channel that is going to basically oppose and heckle and harass fans of the Stumacherisalive theory. Go get yourself some coochie, bro. Something. Do something. Shit, if you got to go rub one off in the fucking bathroom, go relieve yourself. Do whatever the fuck it is you got to fucking do, because this ain't it. This is not what men do. This ain't what grown-ass men do. Grown-ass men don't fucking go make a YouTube channel just to heckle a certain fandom that has a strong belief in a certain theory. That's not what real men do. They don't. We don't have the time to even think about that type of shit. There's so much other things that you could be thinking about, but yet you're thinking about that. Again, it shows to the level of juvenility and banality that you have within yourself, sir. It's quite pathetic. Let's move on.
Expire no matter what happens, even if a character in the movie says, no, he's dead, that'd be dumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even
Right.
if a character says that to you, there's a grief period,
Mm-hmm.
but then they just bounce right back. So
Right.
there really is no way to end this.
That's true.
So
Yeah, it is
it's
kind of an
evergreen
evergreen topic, at least
Yeah.
in the Scream
yeah.
community. They are always talking about it. So yeah, for sure. Hey, Patty, good to
Yeah, we talk about it because the movies contradict themselves in regards to whether they're trying to send us the message as to whether Stumacher is alive or dead. They did it in Scream 5, they did it in Scream 6, and they did it in Scream 7 as well.
see you. I did want to show something because I listened to this. I'm actually a pretty good like reactor to things.
I
that's kind
know.
of what I do.
Oh Christ!
So
I don't know. All I see is his face.
so
All right, so there is some context here because one of my friends had told me that Barry from Wolfman Got Nars has had issues with this crime scene guy, specifically with the crime scene, as you kind of just heard here, making fun of how he looks, you know, making fun of his facial features and how he talks and stuff like that. So again, it plays into what I said about this dude crying and complaining, saying that when he shows up in people who believe that Stumacherisalive's channels, and when he shows up in their live streams or in their video chats, he's saying that he's the victim because we get mad at him when he just says whatever he says, and he's not being disrespectful, but we don't agree with what he's saying, so we just get mad at him and block him, or we'll be mean to him. This is audio proof and visual proof that it is the complete opposite. He's literally making fun of how Barry looks. But what's funny about that to me, and this plays into what I said earlier in regards to explaining why you really wear that mask. It's funny to me that you are judging a man by what he looks like when you literally hide behind a mask. At least Barry has the balls to stand 10 toes down on whatever it is he's talking about and show his face for the audience to see who he is in regards to making these comments that he makes. You, on the other hand, hide behind a fucking mask. And the reason why you really do that is it isn't just to separate your real life from YouTube. It's not. It's because you have a knack and you have a liking to wanting to come on this platform and heckle and harass people and be disrespectful to people. And the reason why you wear that mask so that it separates your YouTube life from your real life is because if you disrespect somebody the wrong way, like you have been doing, there is a chance you might encounter them one day, whether they live in your area or whether you go out of state to another area, whatever. There's a chance that if you show your face and you talk to people the way that you talk to on YouTube, the way that you talk to them, there's a chance if somebody sees your face and recognizes you, they're going to look and be like, yo, that's that crime scene guy. Oh, yeah, he was talking hella shit on YouTube. He was being disrespectful, calling me a child, saying this, saying that. Let me roll up on him and see what's really good. The point is you're afraid of somebody confronting you over what you say on this platform. You don't want the consequences. You want to be able to run your dick licker behind that fucking mask without ever having to face the consequence of somebody seeing who you really are and what you really look like. Because if you insult them or get too personal with them, there's a chance if you ever run into them, they'll slap the shit out of you. That's why you wear the mask. You wear the mask because you want to come on here, run your fucking dick licker without having to face any fucking consequences for the shit that you fucking say, for the personal attacks that you fucking take. Be honest. Tell the truth as to why you wear the mask. You fucking sissy. Let's proceed. And just the fact that you're literally judging somebody by how they look when you hide behind a mask, it tells you everything you need to know about this man's character.
Them, right?
Yeah.
If they're saying he's dead, well, that must mean he's more alive than ever, you know, because they don't trust anything that's out there, right? They think it's some kind of manipulation or ploy to convince them of something that's not true.
I don't know if you've been watching the last couple of movies, but again, it speaks into what I said before. They have contradicted themselves in regards to explaining conclusively whether Stumacher is alive or dead. Prime example of this is Scream 6, the FBI board that shows a picture of Stu's face and it says death, 1996. So that all but confirms that he is dead, right? That's what we are supposed to believe in that moment. But then later on in the movie, what do? They have Kirby and Mindy have a powwow where Mindy and Kirby are sitting in front of Stumacher's TV. And Kirby says, "Ah, yes, the TV that killed Stumacher." And what does Mindy say? That's if you believe he's dead. They're contradicting whether or not Stu is dead or not. If he was conclusively dead, like it shows on the FBI board, there would be no reason to add that line of dialogue from Mindy. There would be no reason to have that scene between her and Kirby or have her say the things that she says. Let's proceed.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
listen, I'll just say this. If this is just for fun for them and they just like talking about it and theorizing, like, oh, it's just fun, that's one thing. But can we like be real for a sec and just admit like it's kind of stupid if you really think he's still alive? Like, come on.
No. And I will say this. It's fun. It is fun. I enjoy making these videos, but I'm also passionate about it because I believe in it. And in response to what you said, can we just admit that it's stupid to think that Stu is still alive? No, it's not stupid to still think that he is alive. Why? Because this is a movie, bro. And what era are we in? We are in the era of retcons. So if they wanted to retcon the fact that Stu died in 1996, they could very well do so. So no, it's not stupid to think that Stumacher is alive. It's also not stupid to think that he could be alive based on the fact that it was conceptualized that he was going to return in Scream 3. The fact that it was even thought of and conceptualized proves that Kevin Williamson at some point believed that the injuries that Stumacher sustained in 1996 was not severe enough to kill him. Let's proceed. I'm getting a little hungry.
Oh, so well, I haven't heard back from her yet. I guess we'll just go ahead and we'll just kind of go ahead here with the whole plan, right? So, well, okay. what you said about what Body said, you know, Body. he said exactly what you said. No, I'm sorry. The guy replying there, right. The guy on Facebook there said exactly what you said to start, and then I just piled on to it. I mean, but it's the same thing. Yeah, there is nothing, because here's the thing. Like he said, they didn't tell us conclusively, but I mean.
So you just even said it yourself. They didn't tell us conclusively. But then yet you're questioning as to why we still believe that Stumacher could be alive. That's because they're not conclusively saying he's dead. And in moments, they're leaving the door open that he is alive. Stupid.
And I don't know. So how many times did you see Scream 7? Because I've only seen it once.
I've seen it once, but
and there it is right there. Y'all two literally at the point of this live stream, I don't know if you gotten to watch it since it's been released on digital or not, but at this point in time, in this live stream, they both only seen the movie fucking one time. One time. But yet have the audacity to come on here and run their fucking mouths about people who have watched it multiple times. I've watched this movie upwards of almost 10 times already. But you want to come on this live stream and run your fucking dick lickers like you know what the fuck you're talking about when you don't know shit because you only watched the movie one time. And trust me, you're going to have to watch this movie multiple times to pick up on the stew clues that I have mentioned over the course of the last couple weeks. Because even my first couple watches, I didn't catch on to it until I really hunkered down and really focused on the movie. Because it's kind of hard to really focus on the movie when you're in a theater the first two times you're watching it because you got audience reactions and all that stuff or whatever. But I don't know, man. Let's just proceed, please. Let's just proceed. These guys watch the movie one fucking time and they want to come on here and chastise and critique people who have watched it more than once. Which is why we are coming out with the videos that we're coming out with in regards to saying, no, Stumacher is still alive, or that he could be still alive and they could be saving him for Scream 8. Watch the movie more than fucking once before you come on here running your fucking mouths, acting like you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Thing is, I've heard a lot of other people talk about it, and I've seen a lot of things from the movie and people reviewing all the events from the movie, and myself dissecting the movie over and over. I've gotten to memorize the whole movie pretty much. So
okay, so yeah. I saw
it's not a complex movie. I'm just saying, like, it's not one of these things.
It's not a complex movie, but yet you can't understand how and why people like myself are still believing that Stu could be alive. Because if it isn't a complex movie, then you would have picked up on the obvious contradiction in regards to them not making a clear-cut decision on whether Stu is alive or dead. If it ain't that complex of a movie, you would notice that, and you wouldn't be on here on a live stream questioning why we are still pushing the theory.
It's such like a head scratcher that you need to wrap your head around. It's a kind of a simple movie.
Now, I've not heard anyone on here anywhere bring up this line. Okay, when I was watching this movie in the theater, I remember distinctly stopping in my tracks and like my jaw dropping because there was a moment in the movie where I want to say Sydney was talking to Gail. I'm 90% sure it was Gail. And she says, I saw his body put into a bag, or I saw his body wheeled out on a cart, or something like that. She literally confirmed, unless I'm imagining this. Maybe I have a reverse Stuther thing going on.
No, it's just a
where I
reverse
imagine
Stuther
this, but I remember my jaw. I remember like stopping and thinking to myself, "Holy shit, they went that far! That's a knockout punch."
It didn't fucking happen. Again, it's a reverse you thing. That line was never spoken by Sydney in regards to saying that she saw Stu's body get carried out on a stretcher or whatever, how you just prefaced it. It never happened. When she's talking to Gail in her living room, or in her dining area, I should say, Gail says, could it actually be true? Could Stu really be alive? Sydney says, that would be the better story, but it's too far-fetched. Where in that line of dialogue do you fucking correlate? She said she saw Stu's body get stretchered out into the ambulance or something like that. Where does that line of dialogue correlate with your line of dialogue? Where? You're hearing things that you want to hear. That's what that is. That line was never spoken at all in the fucking movie. Not at all. The only time anything about ambulance, morgue, coroners come up is when they show up to Fallbrook. And Sydney says, the people in Woodsboro says there's no record for Stumacher making it to the coroner, or there's no coroner report on Stumacher. The person who would have that file died 3 years ago, so there's no one to ask. That's what was said about Stumacher's coroner report or him being pushed out in a stretcher or anything that has anything to do with that line of dialogue, along those lines, along that nature. She never said, I saw his body get stretchered out. Again, this is why watching the movie multiple times before you come on a platform, a worldwide platform, where everybody can hear and see you for the most part, is fucking pivotal. Instead of coming on here running your fucking dick liquor, talking about something you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And you said you distinctively remembered that. Obviously, your distinction isn't so clear. Proceed.
This is over.
It's not though. It's not though.
But at the time when I heard that, I was thinking, but nobody's brought this up though. I have not heard any of these.
Nobody brought it up because it doesn't exist. Watch the movie more than once and you would understand that. That's why nobody's talking about it. Some motherfuckers, bro. Let's proceed. Let's go further.
Though this is the problem. This is the problem that I have, because you're saying that, like, in terms of like the movies and if they wanted to bring him back, right? I think the difference here, okay, is, correct me if I'm wrong, you believe in like the original intent of like Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson, that he's dead and that's what made sense, regardless of whether they want to make.
Here's the thing. Part of the original intent was literally conceptualized that Stu was going to come back. It's out there for posterity forever. They even talk about how the Columbine incident basically forced them to move off of that idea. Also, Kevin Williamson, when he did the first Scream movie, he did an outline of films 2 and 3, an outline of where he wanted to go with the movie. So if we know for a fact that he conceptualized Stumacher's return in Scream 3, wouldn't you say that that was part of the original intent, at least on his end? I would like to think so. If he literally conceptualized it and sent it over for people to fucking read, doesn't that show intent? I digress. Let's move on. Oh, this one's going to be funny. This one's going to be real interesting. Started from right there.
Back-to-back weekends at a discount theater. Seen every movie in the theater since. I know what you did last summer, even back then, same year. So I've seen, that's kind of, I'm a passionate movie fan, especially TV horror, but I don't run like a horror themed channel. But I consume a lot of the content. And the Stu stuff kind of came my way, and it won't.
It didn't come your way, and he says it came my way and it ain't leaving me. No, you chose to immerse yourself into this. Just like you keep choosing to fucking heckle people on their fucking video chats and their live stream chats. You You, sir, are immersing yourself into it. Don't sit there and say, oh, it came to me. You had the option to believe in a theory or not to believe in it, and to watch the content or not watch the content in regards to that theory. You chose to continue to watch it just so that you can get a kick out of fucking with people. It didn't choose you. You chose it. Because you clearly have nothing better to do with your time than to run your fucking dick liquor. Let's proceed.
Leave. And now, like I said, it's like political activism where I'm like, okay, someone's got to do something about this. This is not. And like,
so who the fuck are you to make that decision in regards to, oh, I don't like these people who share this theory. I don't like these people making content about this theory. So now I'm going to stand up for the community that doesn't follow that theory or doesn't support that. I'm going to stand up for them and I'm going to do something about it. What the fuck are you going to do? Really, what can you do to stop people from going on their own platforms and talking about what the fuck they want to talk about? Really, I would love to hear that. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to keep heckling? You're going to keep being a fucking childish little bitch? That's what you're going to do? Ooh, we're so scared. Seriously, who the fuck do you think you are? Do you see any of us coming onto your channel saying, man, this guy's got a real weird obsession with bondage? That's unsettling. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like seeing girls tied up and compromised. So I'm going to start commenting, or better yet, I'm going to make a YouTube channel to oppose this and to talk down on this because I don't like it and I don't think you should make that content. And I'm going to do everything in my power to get you to stop. Do you understand how fucking stupid that sounds? That's not going to stop you from doing what you do with your brand. So what do you think you're really going to do? All you're going to do is just keep coming on here running your dick liquor. That's all you're going to do because it's all you're fucking good at. But it just blows my mind how this grown-ass adult 40-year-old man is literally saying in so many words, man, I don't like this theory and I don't like the people pushing this theory and I feel obligated that I need to do something about this. Like you can really do anything about it. The level of juvenility and banality rears its ugly head again.
like you said before, you said if this is just fun and games, whatever. But the fact is
Right.
they are not in their own like private sector, like fan.
We don't have to be in our own private sector. This is a fucking worldwide platform where we can share our views, our beliefs on anything, as long as we're not promoting violence or we're not being really derogatory or threatening. This is an open platform. We don't have to fucking be in the dark about our theories just because you don't like it. Again, who the fuck do you think you are? You're nobody special, just like I'm nobody special. But I'm not sitting here strutting around, sitting here saying, oh, I feel the need to stop these people from doing the content that they want to do or that they believe in. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, if you have a theory that you strongly believe in, you need to keep that in your own private sector and not post it on YouTube or places like that because I don't like that. Grow the fuck up.
And we're writing fan fiction. They're
Also-
out on YouTube saying this is a fact. Stu
Also-
is factually alive. Go ahead.
I have to say this as well. They're affecting the movies.
Hold on, real quick. The reason why it comes off as we're saying it's a fact that Stu is alive, because there are certain things that they do and certain things that are heard in the movie that doesn't line up with the fucking killers that are revealed to us, to where it could only make sense that it would be Stu in that particular moment. Now you heard.
In
Okay,
what,
so before I went on that spew, Lycan just said the problem is they're affecting the movies in regards to the Stu Truthers. Really? Are we really affecting the movies? Because we had no idea what Scream 5 was going to be when it came out, other than the fact that we knew this was going to be centered around the offspring of Billy Loomis. We didn't know that they would drop little Stumacher Easter eggs in there that would make you think, wait a minute, are they hinting at the possibility that Stu's alive? We didn't do that. They did that to themselves. They put that in the movie. So to say that we're affecting the movie is blasphemous. But I'll also go on and say, if we're really affecting the movie, then wouldn't we have gotten the ending that we wanted? Wouldn't Stu be revealed alive? I'll even go as far as saying it's the non-Stu Truthers who affected the movie more than the Stu Truthers, because the test audience saw this ending and said, no Stu, we don't want it. Meaning the non-Stu Truthers got what they wanted with this movie, which was to prove Stu Truthers wrong. So in all reality, it was the non-Stu Truthers who affected the movie, because they keep contradicting whether or not Stumacher is alive or dead, but they keep failing to pull the trigger and reveal that he is alive, all in the sake of receiving backlash from you crybabies if they were to do that. That's the truth. That's why they gave us the ending that they gave us. And so that if they did reveal that Stu was alive, they knew there was going to be some backlash from some of you guys behind it. Now, did they probably know about the backlash that was coming from us who believed they should have revealed he was alive? Absolutely. But that's why they do the contradictions. That's why they leave the door open. They leave the door open. So once we go back and review the movie, even though we may be disappointed they didn't reveal that he was alive, we see little clues to where it's like, well, wait a minute. They're leading into something. They're not conclusively telling us Stu's dead. They're also giving us some details, like a detailed moment to where it's like, yo, that has to be Stumacher. But again, y'all have more an effect on the movie than we do, because y'all got the ending that y'all wanted. Stu wasn't revealed alive. If we had the type of effect on the movie like you claim that we do, we would have gotten what we wanted. Wouldn't you agree? Proceed.
Stu fans majorly. Secondly, they're going to all expect that deleted scene on like a Blu-ray or whatever the hell they have now. What is it? 4K laser disc? What
yeah, that's why I'm like, are they going to have that scene? Like,
no, I don't think they're going to have that, which is going to piss them off
like,
even more, I think.
I am willing right now to say this. I think he's lying. I do not believe that exists. No,
you think he's trolling?
I don't know if he's lying, but I don't believe it exists.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like they would have sent it.
Well, here's the thing. I think I also caught him in another lie recently. So he's made some comment about wanting Emma Roberts back in the movie, that he tried getting her for like 3 weeks. I saw a YouTube short interview with Emma Roberts from fairly recently, with the last couple of years. And she said, I'd like to go back to Scream. I'm not done with Scream. So she didn't want to come back.
Okay, so if you actually paid attention to what's been coming out over the last couple of weeks, you will know that Kevin actually talked about this in an interview. He talked about wanting so desperately to bring Emma Roberts back into Scream 7, but it didn't happen because she had other obligations. She had scheduling conflicts. He talked about that. Pay attention to what is being put out around you, not just watch the movie or hear what the fuck you want to hear in your own little bubble, in your own little BB. He literally openly talks about this. Also, in regards to him saying, oh, I believe Kevin's lying, that doesn't exist. That alternate ending with Stu being alive doesn't exist. Now, I will say this. I don't believe they're ever going to release that. The last couple movies barely showed any of the deleted scenes. Like, We hardly have gotten any real deleted scenes with Scream 5 and 6. So that's why I don't believe we're going to really get that Stumacher alternate ending as part of the deleted scenes, even if it's on a special box set or 4K release or something like that or whatever. But he says that Kevin is lying in regards to this alternate ending. This is where I will debunk that. When I was in Tampa, the Bearded Entertainment and Sister Pam met up with when they met Ethan Embry in his line at his booth. And they talked to him for a little bit, and they asked him, or one of them asked him, I can't remember which one it was, or whatever. One of them asked him, did he know he was going to be the killer in this movie? Like, did he know they were going to go with his scenes as the killer? And he said he did not know that they were going to use his scenes as the killer up until the movie premiered. He had no idea they were going to reveal that he was one of the killers, which lines up with also test audiences saying there were 2 to 3, I want to say it was two different endings of this movie. That lines up with that. So for you to say Kevin's a liar, I think that's a little bit overboard. I think that's a little bit blasphemy, especially if you have been paying attention. You would know, especially in regards to what you commented about the Emma Roberts situation, you would know that he extrapolated on that as to why he couldn't get her into Scream 7. But of course, you're not fucking paying attention. Just running your fucking dick liquor. Proceed.
Secondary official language is English. They all speak it over there. So we're going to a remote village in the Philippines, a land far away. We're gonna sit down with an 80-year-old husband and wife couple who have never watched Scream. They probably have never watched many horror movies. They don't use YouTube. They don't use the internet. They're completely disconnected. And we're going to say, hey, we want you to watch these 6 movies, and we're going to watch them with you. And then when it's done, we're going to ask you questions, right? So they watch the 6 movies. We're sitting there. It's done. The mask is on the pavement. Samantha and Tara are walking away. Scream 6 is done, right? And we say to them, so what'd you think of these movies? And they go, wow, those movies were crazy. You know, they're scary. The ghost face is so scary. There was so much blood, and the characters, I can't believe her boyfriend, there were 2 of them. And, you know, she had a brother, and the cousin was crazy. And where was Sydney in the last movie? Right? That's what they're going to say. What they are not going to say is all of that plus, hey, honey, do you think that Stu might still be alive and running a cult in the background? Like, that's not.
You don't fucking know that, you nitwit. You don't know how somebody's going to perceive a movie after watching it for the first time. And that's a terrible analogy, by the way, to say we're going to use 80-year-old Philippine couple as an example. Because 80 years old, usually by that time, you don't have all your faculties. You really can't process or observe things the way that you used to when you were younger. It's a little bit sharp in the tooth to really be digging deep into these movies the way that we can when we're younger. So that's kind of a terrible analogy on your end. But who are you to make that assumption that if they were to watch all 6 movies, that they're not going to come away with the idea that Stumacher could be alive? You don't fucking know that. You're speaking from your own perception. Anybody is going to perceive a movie how they choose to perceive a movie. That's why you have one section of the aisle that believes Stumacher is alive, and then we have the other section that doesn't believe that he's alive. You have no fucking clue how someone is going to observe a movie and what they're going to think or what they're going to say about it in the aftermath. How dumb would you fucking feel if you used this analogy that you just spoke of on an 80-year-old Philippine couple, got them to watch all 6 Scream movies, and at the end of it, they turn and look at you and be like, yeah, everything was great. You know, we liked it. It was scary. 2 killers plus a brother, all the things you just mentioned. But yeah, by the way, do you think Stumacher could be alive? Because there's certain moments in these last couple movies to where I kind of think he might be alive. There's some things that they did that kind of make me question whether he's dead or not. How fucking stupid would you feel if you went to use that analogy that you just talked about on an actual 80-year-old Philippine couple, and they flipped the script on your dumbass and actually said, yeah, we kind of think there might be some truth that Stumacher is alive? You'd feel dumb as hell. You don't know how somebody's going to observe a movie, man. You're only speaking from your own perception. So that whole analogy is fucking faulty as fuck from the fucking get-go, especially with the whole age. You're going to trust 80-year-old fucking people to have the faculty still to make observations that deep or to care that deeply into what is going on in these movies, especially when they're watching it for the first time in rapid succession, each sequel, not going back and watching the first movie multiple times, then moving to the second, and so on and so forth. Doesn't make any sense at all. That analogy was fucking terrible. And it shows how much of an IQ that you have. You like to sit there and say that Stu Truthers have low-level IQ, but yet the analogy you just used was absolutely fucking, that's below preschool grade. That's terrible. Absolutely fucking terrible. You have the audacity to question somebody's IQ. You need to check your own fucking self. Oh, they're not going to say that. You don't fucking know that. Everybody views a movie differently, dickhead. Proceed.
Something
would have put in it of Stu in Scream 7. And that was them listening to the people who wanted him back and doing the best they could without, like, you know, actually having him be there. Was it the best way to go about it? I don't personally think so, maybe. But
I'm going to reiterate something that I've been saying for a while now since the movie came out. Go big or go home.
I agree with that.
Yeah. If you're gonna go put Stu in the movie, just fucking do it and go get the whole, make him alive. He 30 years went by. He's been hiding. He's been a mental. Do the whole thing. Don't do a half measure because you're gonna.
They were trying to please both sides.
Exactly.
That's what they were doing.
And I agree. Oh shit. And I agree with that. With what Scareticulus just said there. I accidentally went back in the fucking video. I didn't want to do that, but it's okay. We'll get back, to where we was. But I agree with what he said there in regards to they need to make a decision. Go big or go home. Either reveal the man's fucking alive or conclusively confirm he's dead. If you are going to reveal he's alive, go all in. I agree with that. But what I'll also put into question is if you believe, and you said it yourself, that you've said this for a while, if you believe that they should go big or go home if they're going to have Stu in the movie, then why are you mad at people who believe in the theory that he's alive? Where's the hostility? What's the hostility for? If you believe that if they're going to do something like that, if they're going to feature him in the movie, if you believe they should go all in on revealing he's alive, then what is your whole real argument and hostility towards us Stu Truthers who want to see the same thing? I'm not understanding. Maybe you can help me. I'm genuinely confused by that. By the fact that you say, go all in, go big or go home if you're going to have Stu in this movie, but then yet you're literally openly critiquing and criticizing Stu fans who believe he's alive. Again, confused. Help me. I don't understand that. Let's proceed.
Of modern franchises is they played more into nostalgia. And I have no arguments that the movie is a crowd pleaser. Okay. You have Stu, you have Sydney, you have a lot of comebacks, you have, some good action set pieces and stuff. that's going to please an audience. But what's an audience pleasing movie does not necessarily a great story or movie make. So I don't think they had a great story. Or
so here's the thing with that. I do agree with that assessment as well. Just because a film does fan service doesn't mean it's particularly going to turn out to be a good movie, especially in terms of the storyline. But they have already given us, with the last two films, two movies that weren't really fan servicey to where they weren't that great, especially in regards to story. A lot of plot holes and stuff of that nature. So what I'm saying by that is I'd rather, in so many ways, I personally would rather have a fan servicey type movie that also has a great storyline, because that's my big thing. I love a great storyline and I love a great killer reveal. That's my big things in regards to especially these type of movies or whatever. But I would rather get a fan service movie that kind of does lack in story a little bit and maybe has a little bit of plot holes. I would like to do without them, but it happens. Then have a movie where we're not really getting much fan service to where you're still making the same mistakes. And the reason why I say that is because for the most part, we don't get fan servicey type movies, especially in Scream. They usually make the movies that they want to make. That's why I preface it the way I preface it, in the way of, yeah, I want to see a fan servicey type of Scream movie, even if the story could use some work, because at least from a fan service standpoint, I'm getting what I want to see. Who wouldn't want that? We're paying money to watch these fucking movies. So why would you not want to see certain things that you conceptualized in your mind or that you talked about on a platform? Why would you not want to see that in the movie? What's the problem with that? I mean, I agree that fan servicey movies don't make a good storyline, especially if you don't put as much love into the story as you did the fan service. I believe you can meet in the middle with it. That's what I would like. But me personally, I would rather get a fan service movie that lacks a little bit in storyline as opposed to a movie to where we didn't get much fan service and we still have those same issues in regards to plot holes and bad storytelling. Some people may not agree with that. That's okay. That's how I feel about it. You're entitled to feel how you feel about it. Let's proceed.
Who all came for me, and I was like, okay, my bad, I did not know. So now with that knowledge, I'm like, and people want to have their theories, that's fine, they can have their theories. I'm very careful about what killers I judge, I guess.
Let's talk about theories here, because this is one thing. And so I get frustrated about some of this stuff. So there's two things that frustrate me when it comes to this Stu stuff. The certainty in which they act, number one, but even
again, because there are certain moments and dialogue and things that you see in these movies that don't make sense for the killers that they reveal to say or do. That's why it may come off as we're so definitive and sure that it's Stumacher in that moment, because the scene, the dialogue, and what's happening lines up more for his character than it is the characters that they reveal.
Calling this stuff a theory. So, because it's not. Now, you at the end of Wednesday's stream, you kind of got into this, and the term you brought up, I had never heard before. And neither had M. Now, for a lot of people probably would not know it, so maybe to make it a little simpler, I want to use this as an example. Okay, so a theory. This is kind of my problem with the Stu nonsense. I like to theorize about movies. I have actual theories I've come up with for I Know What You Did Last Summer, like kind of the original and the series. I kind of came up with them myself. And with a theory, you are supposed to watch the film, right? Watch it. A lot of times you have to watch it a lot, because if you watch it a lot, you start to pick up.
Right, which is what you didn't do for Scream 7, because you only watched it one fucking time. So you basically went against your own logic. You basically said, when you watch the movie, you're supposed to watch it a bunch of times before you have an assessment on it. But yet, here you are, after one watch of Scream 7, having an assessment on the stumacher theory and everything else when you don't know exactly everything in the movie because you missed some things. You even got a line of dialogue wrong. So won't you practice what you preach? Watch the movie multiple times before you come on here running your fucking dick licker. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
On more dialogue, more things. And then you're supposed to pull out stuff from it. You're supposed to pull, right? And I'm not trying to speak condescendingly to you two. I'm trying to speak condescendingly to the Stu people. So don't be offended by my speech here, right? So you are supposed to watch a movie and pull from it. So as an example, let me give you a theory I have for the Scream franchise.
Okay. So as you guys just heard, he says he doesn't believe the stumacher theories he doesn't believe in the validity of them because he doesn't believe the fans are pulling from the movies when they come up with these theories. In so many words, he's basically saying we're talking out of our ass. But again, it comes to show that he doesn't pay attention, especially to the people that he likes to criticize and critique, because he would know that, especially in a lot of my videos, I show details that really kind of prove, or at least almost prove, that Stumacher is alive or whatever. And it's from stuff that I've pulled from the fucking movie. For example, I did a video a couple weeks ago talking about the opening scene of Scream 7 and how that is Stumacher who killed Scott Madison. Why? Because when Madison goes back in the room for a second time, when Scott is hiding from her and he's dressed as Ghostface and we see him poke his head out in the dark and all that stuff, when she goes into the room, at that point in time, the animatronic Ghostface has been switched out for one of the real killers, right? And what does the real killer say in that scene when she walks past what she thinks is the animatronic? They'll never make it in time. Hey, we're not finished yet. Why that's significant is because that is dialogue spoken from the opening scene of Scream 1996 during Casey Becker's kill scene. And during that opening scene, that was spoken to Casey Becker. Why that's significant is because the only people who would know that line of dialogue would be Stu, Billy, and Casey. Maybe Stephen Orff, if you want to say that. 3 of them are dead. 3 of them are dead. Gale Weathers would not know anything about that line of dialogue, which is why in Stab 1, when we see Casey's scene play out, none of the dialogue is a match to what we hear in the original movie itself. It's completely different. Jessica, Carl, or Marco would not know that line of dialogue because it wouldn't be in a Stab movie. They would have no idea about that line of dialogue. The only person who would know that line of dialogue is somebody who was present when that line of dialogue was spoken. Hence, Stumacher. Casey and Billy are definitively dead. So is Stephen Orff. Stumacher, on the other hand, not so definitive enough. And even you guys said it yourself. It's not conclusive. Point is theories like that or assumptions like that we're pulling from the fucking movie. Another prime example. When people said I was crazy to think that the Woodsboro call in Scream 6 that came to Gale Weathers' phone, that 707 Woodsboro number who called Gale Weathers, some people said I was crazy to think that was Stu and that was the Baileys. Funny thing is Radio Silence came out and confirmed that Baileys were from the Midwest. So they wouldn't have a Woodsboro area phone number. Also, Bailey, Wayne, says that he saw images of what Richie looked like in the aftermath of Samantha killing him. Meaning he didn't go to Woodsboro, Modesto, or wherever Richie's body was taken to view the body himself. He only saw pictures. Meaning he didn't even step foot in Woodsboro. So the fact that the Bailey family is from the Midwest, and the fact that Wayne only saw pictures of Richie's death proves that they weren't the ones who called Gail Weathers, because the one who called Gail Weathers had a Woodsboro area phone number. We're pulling that from the fucking movie, you dumb shit. So for you to say, oh, these Stu truthers and their theories, they're not really theories because they're not pulling from the movie. Yes, we are pulling from the movie, you stupid dick. Fuck, man, the level of idiocy of some people. Like, fuck, you talk about no matter what y'all say to us to convince us that Stu's dead, we won't believe you. Man, it's the other way around. We could give you concrete evidence. We could literally bring Stumacher back alive ourselves if we had the power to do so, to show you this shit's real, and you'll still say he's dead. You'll still say the concrete evidence that we show and that we talk about from what we see and hear in the movies, you'll still say those aren't valid without even giving a real contextualized argument as to why they aren't valid. Just talking out of your fucking ass. Musa. It's okay. Sorry, guys. I tend to get a little fired up when people try to undermine my intelligence along with my constituents' intelligence when they're fucking clearly stupid them fucking selves. Like, my brain, I got to move on. Let's go. Let's move on to the next one.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just no level-headed person would do that. It is a cult. And then we talked about this. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy. These people have spent decades talking about this imaginary Stu cult.
Just like it's self-fulfilling for you to go on to these live streams and in these video chats and run your fucking dick licker and be disrespectful. So you're really no different from us if that's how you feel about us, because you literally do the same thing, just in a different way, in your own way, because you're opposite of what we believe and how we feel about this theory. But you're literally doing the same thing. Just for your own satisfaction, you're running your dick licker, trying to throw shade on the credibility of these content creators who talk about this theory, and trying to throw shade on the fandom who believes in this theory. Just for your own satisfaction, because you have nothing better to do with your time, because you're gutless and you're fucking miserable.
Planted inside of the films, when in reality it is right in front of us on YouTube. These people, like, there's like even levels of them. Like, there's capos and the Dawn and like underlings in the live stream sending the money around.
If that was how they was, if that was the message of Scream 7, I would have had way more respect for the movie. Instead, they made it about something that I don't even think it was like a straw man almost. Like a lot of the points they were trying to make in the movie. Besides just making fun of Stu fans, I don't think they did it right. I don't know. I just have...
You're right. They didn't do it right. And you're saying making fun of Stu fans, they're making fun of all of us. When they contradict what they're relaying in regards to the message of whether Stumacher is alive or dead, they're making fun of both of us. Because when they don't reveal he's alive and they say things like they say that all but confirm Stu is dead, they're making fun of us Stu truthers. But then when they do things such as what Mindy says in Scream 6, oh, if you believe he's dead, when they contradict themselves in regards to Stu being alive or dead, when they do these contradictions, they're making fun of all of us. So we're not alone in this. You guys are right here with us. They're making fun of all of us. And that's a fact. The more they contradict whether Stumacher is alive or dead, the more they know we're going to talk about it and debate about it and break it down. That's why through 3 movies, they have continued to do this shit. I wish they would just double down at some point and just be like, all right, we're done fucking with both of y'all. Stu's dead, or here you go, Stu's alive. And this is how we did it. This is how we made it make sense. But the point is we're in the same boat. They're fucking with both of us. They're fucking with the non-Stu truthers and the Stu truthers. We're all in this together. Even if we don't want to be.
I have gripes with it. Horror Lover said, my biggest problem with the Stu theory is that he's mythologized by the fandom into becoming a character he's not. If Stu comes back, I would like him to be Stu and not Roman, played by Matthew Lillard. And that's true, because Roman was the mastermind. Everything that they want Stu to be, Roman was.
Now, it's funny that you say that. It makes me question whether you really have watched these movies or not. Because in the first movie, Stu is a mastermind. Billy literally explains how they were going to make it look like Neil committed the murder spree, killed Sydney, and then killed himself. Stu says, I thought of that. Billy didn't refute neither. So when Billy says, your father set off the killing spree, murdering everyone because it's a 1-year anniversary of your mom's death. Except for Billy and me, we were left for dead. He stabs you and then shoots himself in the head. Perfect ending. I thought of that. So that means Stumacher masterminded how they were going to get away with the fucking murder spree. So for you to say that we are turning him into the mastermind that Roman Bridger was is asinine. Stu is already a mastermind. They tell you this in the first movie. People, I can't make this shit up. I can't. These people claim to be fans of these movies, but they don't even fucking remember half the fucking dialogue or half the scenes and half the information that has been given to us. And you want to come on here and you want to disrespect and you want to fucking critique other fucking people when you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. That's the issue I have. That's what gets me fired up. Stu was a mastermind. He literally masterminded how him and Billy were going to get away with the murder so that they can make their way into the sequel. As they said in the first fucking movie, it's there in dialogue. It is posted for posterity forever. You can even look it up on YouTube. How do you get that wrong? If you are a fan of these movies, if you know what the fuck you are talking about. Woo! I tell you, shit like that really gets under my skin because I hate when people say, oh, well, this side over here, their theories and their thoughts are asinine. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just talking out of their ass while they are literally talking out of their asses themselves. Stu was a mastermind. We're not trying to make him this mythological character or however the fuck, mythologized character. See, I'm fucking stumbling over my words now because I'm so fucking fired up over this shit. We're not trying to turn him into this mythical character or into this character that was used for Roman Bridger. He was already there. They already used it for him. He was a mastermind. Yes, Billy may have been in control, but Stu was the one who planned how they were going to get away with it. Kind of like Jill was in control of Charlie, but Jill even says Charlie was the idea man. So, yes, Stumacher was a mastermind. It's literally there in the first movie for you to hear and consume. We're not trying to turn him into something that he's not. It's already there. Let's proceed. We got 2 more clips I want to play, and then I'm going to close it up, share my final thoughts on this shit, and then I'm going to be done with this. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, this one's really funny and interesting too. Respect to all of them, though, for not being disrespectful in regards to what they're talking about and who they're talking about.
Debate.
Political Stu argument, all telling me what was going on in the 90s that I wasn't alive, because that was the main thing he and I had talked about, was that, you know, you didn't have like a strong DNA test or like records or anything, was what we mainly talked about, which you guys are bringing up now of how that went, but I wasn't alive and I don't know what happened in the 90s. I don't pay attention to that, but because I don't need to, but yeah, so
the 90s were a rough time. That's all you need to know.
I was free from it, so
I wasn't going. I don't. The guy you just mentioned, I was not. From what I heard, he passed away, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I did not know him or see any of his content, so I certainly wasn't going to mention him in there. But I will say that from what I have heard from some of these people who were, you know, with him in this cult, that they have actually like kind of dedicated their pursuit to continue this to him. That it's almost like they're trying to, they have to get this in the movie to like honor his memory.
Yes, I remember.
Wrong. Now, I will say this, because part of the reason why I created a channel is because I was motivated by Steven. God rest his soul. I miss him so freaking much. But no, we're not continuing to make this Stumacher is Alive theory content because we're trying to honor him and we're trying to make sure that the reveal gets in the movie. No, we're talking about it because we are genuinely passionate about it ourselves. One of the reasons why I became a content creator, one of the reasons why I started doing these videos was because I watched Steven's videos, and that motivated me because as a horror fan, I always found it difficult to talk about what I felt because a lot of people that I live around and that I'm close to, they're not into horror movies and don't think about it deeply like I do. So when I see this guy who has a lot of the same ideas that I have on an open platform talking about it, that motivated me. Like, holy shit, I didn't know that we could do this on here like that. I was oblivious to it. So in regards to being a motivating factor, in regards to channels being created, absolutely. But are we only doing the Stumacher is Alive content to rip people off of their money, as you stated earlier? I don't know which one it is. Either we're ripping people off of their money or we're just doing it to honor Steven to get Stu's reveal in the movie. Either way, neither are the case. Would it be great if he was revealed or if they did do a Stumacher reveal eventually in a Scream movie? Absolutely. Would that be a nice tip of the hat to Craven, to Steven and his channel for everything he created over there with that and this community that he created? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that we are literally talking about this just so that, and that's the only reason that why we're doing it. It's not the only reason why we're doing it. We're doing it because we're genuinely passionate and we genuinely believe in the theory based on what we see in the movies, based on what we hear in the movies. So for you to sit there and say, oh, they're doing this because they're trying to honor him and get this reveal in the movie, which really isn't necessary, you're false in that regard. That's a false accusation. That's a false statement. We do this shit because we personally believe in the theory. One of the main reasons why I subscribed and start watching Steven was the first video I ever saw on his channel was a video that says Stew Clues. So when I see this, I'm like, wait a minute. There's people out there that believe in this theory like I do? Click. But that doesn't mean that I'm continuing to do this content just to get the reveal in the movie or to support it. And then I'm not going to talk about it or talk about Stumacher even further. No, I talk about Stumacher being alive because I believe in it. We talk about it because we believe in it. Let's proceed. I am going to save
your email
the clip where my image and
That's
Destin's image comes up for last. But there's something else I want to address here before we get to that. Don't mind the dogs. You guys already know what time it is. They're going to make an appearance at some point.
says Stu is dead. Like, it's not a question. There's no question mark after it. You saw him die. Scream 6 has dead written on the board. Stu, on an FBI monitored police law enforcement board in writing, Stu dead. This was before Scream 7. This was before they once again told you in 6.
And like I said earlier, they contradict themselves moments later when Kirby and Mindy are sitting in front of the TV and Kirby brings up the fact of the TV that kills Stumacher. And what does Mindy say? That's if you believe he's dead. So in one instance, they're playing into the thought that Stu is dead, but then in one instance, they're playing into the thought that he could be alive. Contradiction. Contradiction. If you paid attention, you would catch up on this contradiction that they've been doing over the last 3 films.
Thousand different ways, whether it's a burial, his body being drug out, Marco making fun of the audience. He's dead, right? So I'm a canon acceptor.
But dude,
also in regards to Marco's dialogue, in regards to, oh, you didn't believe Stu was really alive, did you? That would be dumb because Stu's dead, alive in spirit, but dead. I did a video about this in the aftermath of Scream 7's release, talking about how Marco defies his own logic in explaining that Stu is dead. Because moments before saying what he said about Stu, he tells Sydney, I would have been dead too, but your daughter missed my head. You gotta always shoot him in the head. Isn't that right, Stu? Why that is significant is because right there, he is acknowledging that Stumacher was not shot in the head. And he's basically telling you that in order to truly kill Ghostface, you have to shoot him in the head. Which is why his logic is skewed. When he later says, oh, you didn't think Stu was alive, did you? Well, that would be dumb. That's him literally going against his own logic. Because if he truly believes that it takes shooting a Ghostface in the head to truly kill them, then that means he would have to believe there's no way that Stumacher is dead because he was never shot in the head. If you watched the movie more than once, you would have picked up on that.
hold on. Kirby and
Also, I will also make it a point that, in my opinion, I don't think it was ever Jessica or Marco's intention to make Sidney Prescott believe, or Sidney Evans, Prescott Evans, whatever you want to say. I don't think it was their intention to make Sidney believe that Stu was truly alive. I don't. They just used his AI version of him to torment her. And the reason why I say that is because, one, they didn't mention the coroner reports. If they were truly trying to make Sidney believe that Stumacher was alive, they would have had those coroner reports because they would have been the one to pull him. They made no mention of having the coroner reports that were missing that would have revealed whether Stu is dead or alive, whether he made it to the morgue or not, or whatnot. But more importantly, the reason why that line of dialogue with Marco is very important in regards to explaining why I don't think they had any intention of making Sidney believe Stu was really alive or dead, or making her believe he was truly alive, is because when you go back to the Fallbrook scene, when Sidney shows Marco the picture of Stu, who does he refer to Stu as? He says John Doe. He doesn't say Stumacher. Obviously, this was done to further throw Sidney off and to, I guess, somewhat make her believe that Stumacher could be alive, but he doesn't refer to Stu as Stumacher. He says John Doe. If he really had intention to make her believe that Stumacher was really alive, he would have said Stumacher. Oh, yeah, that's Stumacher. He didn't do that. He referred to Stu as John Doe. So again, I don't think it was ever Marco or Jessica's intention to truly make Sidney believe that Stumacher was alive. They were just using the AI form of him to fuck with her and as a way for her to face her past, which was a main theme of the movie. Proceed.
In Scream 6, she did this face.
We can talk about that because that right there. So here's the thing.
See, and that's the thing I'm talking about. See, I know in regards to the face he made in regards to Scream 6, the face that Kirby made looking at the board, I know what YouTuber he's talking about in that regard. And I think it's quite hilarious that you can come on this live stream and take a subtle little dig, a subtle little shot at that, but you don't have enough fucking cojones to go hit that YouTuber up and say, hey, come on my live stream, let's have an open and honest debate about these stumacher theories. Instead, we want to sneak this. And then you wonder why some of us probably won't agree to come on and have a debate with you, because you choose to sneak this and be disrespectful before actually being an adult and saying, hey, I want to have an open and honest conversation about this. Let's do this the right way, no disrespect, and let's have a conversation. You sneak this before getting to that offer, which will turn people down. That will turn people off, I should say, in regards to wanting to come and engage with you and have a conversation with you. Proceed.
So we are canon acceptors.
Horror, welcome to the chat. M's in the chat.
Oh, see, and she's got that. Yeah, so we're canon acceptors. They are canon deniers. They have seen the evidence and the facts, and they have actually said, no, I saw one guy leave a comment. I don't care what.
Wrong. That is you. He says we're canon deniers. Stu Truthers are canon deniers and that they're canon believers. Is them not contradicting whether Stumacher's alive or dead not canon? Do you not hear and see that in the fucking movie? You do. So how can you sit there and say we're not canon believers when we are literally talking about things that are canon within the fucking movie? You idiot! I fucking swear to God, the level of stupidity that this guy has is fucking remarkable. Oh, man, like, yo, I swear to God, man, it's motherfuckers like this that just really drive my brain crazy because of how stupid he sounds. They're canon deniers. They're not canon believers. Literally everything we talk about is coming from the fucking movies. It is canon for all of us to view. We just obviously have a different perspective and viewpoint on it. But we are clearly pulling things from the fucking movie. Just like how I mentioned earlier about the opening scene of Scream 7. That would have to be Stumacher. Because what happens in the line of dialogue doesn't match the killers that are revealed. That's coming from the movie. That's being a canon acceptor, not a canon denier. Now, let's get on to the last one, because I'm ready to fucking get done with this, if I'm being honest. Because I feel like I've said enough, and I've exposed and proven enough what I wanted to prove and expose here in this video in regards to how this fucking asshole is and how this other guy is kind of playing into that and kind of in so many ways giving a platform and fostering an environment for people like this to behave like this. Now let's go back, because this is where me and Destin get mentioned.
anything of Stu being alive, a trial. He's in an asylum. There was a secret trial.
I didn't like the asylum or the
there was a
psychiatric
secret
hospital.
trial, a secret trial, and no one knew about it. Apparently, they sentenced him to an asylum like a Batman villain, right? He's in there next to Bane and the Joker, right? Stu and the Joker and the Riddler have been put in the asylum, the Arkham Asylum. Right?
Well, what's funny is that was a big theory for a number of years about Stu. Like, well, maybe he's in a mental asylum, right? They just took that from the Stuthers theorizing that and put it in.
Actually, that's wrong. That was taken in response to the concept for Scream 3 about Stu being in prison. That's where the whole mental asylum and stuff came from, him being confined in a prison. So that's where all that concept for Stu being locked away somewhere, that's where that came up.
In the movie as like, hey, what if this did happen? And then they just pulled one over on all of them.
That is, so we have and we can't, I've started to say this earlier. The most annoying thing in the Scream universe to me from fans outside of Stu being alive is this dumb concept, this dumb idea of Roman being in Woodsboro in 1996. That he was a shadow figure hanging out in the back with Billy and Stu, kind of coordinating stuff and moving around. And he's the guy in the woods in the grocery store, right? He's in the grocery store as Ghostface because it's Roman. And they'll say that, then I'll say, okay, so you're telling me Roman was in Woodsboro in 96. And then very similar to how Stu is like running away and hiding in the reveals, that Billy and Stu have Sydney in the kitchen and they're explaining everything and they're going to kill her. And Roman isn't going to come out and be like, hey, sis, I killed mom. Like right there, that he's just going to like still hide and she's never going to know.
Okay, so here's the thing about this or whatnot. As I said earlier, there's a thing and an era that we are in called retcons. Now, he later goes on to mention how Roman did say in his line of dialogue that he had no idea that Billy and Stu were going to make a movie of their own, meaning that he had no idea they were going to commit a killing spree of their own. And he does say that. But this is where retcons come into play. If they wanted to retcon something about Roman Bridger that would have tied him to Stumacher, they could very well do it. Why? Because we have been seeing them use retcons in 2 of the last 3 movies. They retconned Billy Loomis's storyline, gave him an offspring. What did they just do with Sydney? In Scream 4, Sydney had no kids. There was no mention of a husband, nothing like that. Even Rebecca implies that she wasn't with anybody by saying that Sydney needs to get shit-faced or she needs to get laid every once in a while. That is a fact. And what did they do in Scream 7? They gave Sydney a husband and 3 daughters. So we are in an era where things can get retconned for a specific story and for a specific narrative. Now, in regards to why I believe that Roman Bridger, why I believed in that theory, and why I still believe in that theory to a degree, or whatnot, why it could happen, not just because of the retcons, is because in Scream 3, on the set of Stab 3, Return to Woodsboro, what houses do we see directly across from each other? We see a replica of Stu's house, and we see a replica of Sydney's house. Now, upon me seeing that and pulling from the movie, like you say we should do, when I see that, when I've watched the movie more recently and I think about those particular moments, I'm like, man, the first house that Sydney walks through is the replica house of Stumacher. It makes me wonder, in Roman's movie, was he going to say something or comment in something in regards to Stu that we didn't know about? With retcons, things like that can happen. Things like this that you are crying and complaining about can happen. Hell, Halloween retcon Laurie Strode's story and dialogue and things we knew about her story how many fucking times? 2 full times? Why couldn't they do that for Scream? Or at least they've done that for Scream, but why can't they do that for Roman Bridger's character like they've done it for Billy, like they've done it for Sydney? Why? Because you don't like it? Because you don't like the concept? Oh, well, boo-hoo. What do you need, a hug? Pee, 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 pee. Like, seriously. This is what I mean by you just talking out of your ass, but not being aware of what era we are in regards to these movies. Much like Scareticulus said earlier, not only are we in the era of nostalgia, but we are in the era where retcons are used more prevalent, especially for big IPs like Scream that have a backstory, that have a long-standing storyline. Retcons are more prevalent now more than ever. So if they wanted to reveal something about Stumacher and Roman Bridger having a connection in the events of Scream 1996 with Roman being present, there, maybe being the one to help Stu fake his death, they could do something like that. It's not out of the realm of fucking possibility. It's not. Especially when you take a look at Scream 3 and you realize how it's shot. There's no way Roman's doing that by himself. And when you take into account there are Stumacher Easter eggs in that movie that nobody seems to talk about, you can come away thinking maybe, just maybe, if they wanted to, they can reveal a backstory that pits Roman and Stu working together behind the scenes, with Roman sprucing Stu up to be a true mastermind. Stu was already a mastermind in Scream 1996, but Roman is teaching him to be a better one, so to speak. Or taught him to be a better one, or taught him how to basically do what he's always wanted to do, which is make it to every sequel while actively killing before he reveals himself in a grand fashion. Kind of like what Roman did. Because the funny thing is, did Roman show up in Scream 2 with Mrs. Loomis and say, hey, sis, by the way, I had mom killed. Just wanted to let you know that? No, he didn't do that neither. He literally waited. He literally waited till 2 murder sprees happened before he decided to go after Sydney. So this idea definitely isn't impossible, especially when you are in an era where retcons are more prevalent, more now so than ever. Also, in regards to the grocery store scene that you want to make fun of, look at it in this way. Why would it make sense for Billy or Stu to do that? Think about it. Their whole motive, their whole idea was to get away with the murders. So if they're dressing up in public as Ghostface, they are basically putting themselves at risk to be apprehended because the police are actively looking for somebody in a Ghostface costume who is committing the fucking murders. So it would make no sense for them to go out in broad daylight dressed in the Ghostface costume, knowing they could risk getting caught, which goes against what they wanted to do in the fucking first place. It goes against their whole plan to get away with the murders. That's why the idea of a third possible killer being present in Scream 1996. That's why the fact or the idea of Roman Bridger being that third killer is definitely on the table. Because also take this into account. We know for a fact that Roman was watching Maureen for God knows how long before Billy and Stu killed her. Who's to say that he wasn't trying to watch things play out in regards to Sydney as well? Again, but the point is you're literally mad at us over having theories. What I'm mad at you about is the fact that you want to be disrespectful, a pest, and just flat out ignorant to people who have a difference of opinions than you do. And you want to take personal shots and throttle our credibility and say that we're scamming people, but then in the same breath say, oh, well, if you want to come on and debate and defend your positions, let's do it. Let's feel free to do so. If you really wanted an honest, open debate, you wouldn't have sneak dissed or you wouldn't have dissed to begin with. You wouldn't have sat there and threw personal shots to begin with. You cannot expect people to want to have an open and honest conversation with you If you can't even be honest enough with yourself to not sneak this and not take personal shots and just reach out personally and say, hey, I don't believe in this theory. I somewhat have an issue with you continuing to push this theory. However, I'm willing to have an open and honest conversation about it if you are. And be adults and be respectful while talking about it. You didn't do that. You did not do that. So you can't sit here and say, oh, well, these people, they don't like to debate or go against anybody who opposes them, when you yourself did not reach out to see if this could happen, but you damn sure took the time to run your dick lickers and take personal fucking shots and name drop people in live streams and name drop people in videos. As quick as you were to do that and say what you said in your video and to say the things that you say in these comment sections, you could have been just as quick to hit me up on Instagram and say, hey, Marcus, so I don't believe in your stumacherisalive theory. I think this type of content needs to stop on YouTube. However, I want to have an open and honest conversation with you. Can we make this happen? Sure, no problem. Why? Because leading into it, you didn't get disrespectful. You didn't take personal shots. You didn't call me out of character or call anyone else out of character. But that's what you did. But then you want to come on here and say, if people want to show up to Scareticulus's panel, and that's the funny thing, why can't we show up on your channel? Why it's got to be on his channel? You're the one who called for a debate, so why it's got to be on his channel? I have no problem debating him. If I'm being honest right here, right now, if I am going to do a debate, I'd rather debate him because of what I said earlier. He seems to go about it the right way. I'm not sitting here saying he doesn't have his sarcastic, snide shots that he's taking at the fandom and at us content creators, because he does. But in regards to approaching the situation, in regards to debating us, he actually did it the right way when he mentioned it earlier. As opposed to you, Crime Scene, he did it the right way. So if I'm going to have a debate, I have no problem coming on Scareticulus's channel and debating him. I extend an olive branch. But you, motherfucker, Crime Scene, you can get out of here with that. We have nothing to talk about. Me and you have nothing to talk about at all. I'm already going to tell you how that's going to go. I can already see how that conversation is going to go based on how you are and based on how I am. It won't work. It will not work, because the moment you start fucking getting really disrespectful is the moment I'm going to cuss you the fuck out. And then it's just going to be an entire clusterfuck and nothing productive is going to get done. It's just going to be an entire toxic conversation. So in regards to debating you, no, because there's nothing we have to talk about. I think I've done a pretty good job exposing you for who you are and exposing your knowledge of these fucking movies. There's nothing for us to talk about. Now, in regards to Scareticulus, I'm open to having an open and honest conversation on your channel, sir, as long as you agree to the rule that you don't disrespect me and I don't disrespect you. You respect my shit and I respect yours, whether we agree to disagree or not. That's all. But if you can't have an open and honest discussion without being disrespectful, don't fucking bother. Because I'm not tolerating it, and I'm not having it, and I'm not dealing with it, because I don't fucking have to. I think I've done a pretty good job in this video displaying and debunking or debunking some of your arguments and your talking points here. I think I've done a pretty good job extrapolating my knowledge of this franchise in these films. Enough to the point where if you don't want to openly and respectfully have a conversation, then we don't need to have one. I don't need to say anything else. This video speaks for itself. I meticulously proved and exposed things in regards to y'all arguments, but more importantly, in regards to this fucking douchebag, the Crime Scene, who likes to go on YouTube and throw a pity party and say, I'm the victim. I show up in these stumacher live streams and these video chats, and they're mean to me because I don't share the same theory that they do. No, wrong. You're playing the victim yourself. You're saying that we play the victim, but it's clear you play the victim. I proved it here in this video. You've been taking personal shots for over a fucking month. The problem is with you, and this is why I say this is why you hide your identity, because you don't want to face no consequences for your actions. You literally sat here in this fucking video that you did over a month ago, and you said that we were scamming people out of their money to make stew content. You said that. You said that. But then you turn around and say, we're the ones taking personal shots at you when you show up. We didn't know anything about you. We didn't know anything about you taking shots at us. You were the one who started this bullshit, this childish, ridiculous, ignorant bullshit, all over a movie theory. Grow up, man. That's all I have left to say to you. Again, the olive branch, the offer is on the table. Scareticulus, if you would like to have an open and honest discussion with me, I am one Stuther who will fight back. I am one Stuther who has no problem defending his positions at all. So if you want to put this together in a respectful and an adult manner, we can definitely do that. If not, keep me out of your shit, which also means don't be allowing people like him to come up here and mention anything about me or my channel or my constituents if you're not going to give us the opportunity to defend ourselves. Don't mention me anymore, and I won't do anything like this. I won't mention you or your content anymore. It's as simple and adult as that. But all right, everyone, that is it for this video. I don't have to explain what this video is. You guys got damn near 2 hours and 2 minutes of this. What this video is, my response to Scareticulus in the crime scene. You guys already know, if you like horror movie related content such as Scream, Halloween, and all that good stuff, definitely shoot the channel a subscribe, follow, shoot the notification icon so you guys can get all the latest content updates to the channel. If you want to like this video, go for it. If not, I understand. I try my best not to be negative here in this community, but sometimes motherfuckers really force your hand, and a man's got to do what a man's got to fucking do. So with that being said, if you want to like the video, if you want to hype it, go for it. Honestly, with this particular video, I really don't give a fuck. I just wanted you guys to know the truth in regards to this situation, because this motherfucker crime scene is out here basically getting the story misconstrued based on what he wants you guys to believe. But again, guys, have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next video.